Ladies and ladies and gentlemen, a lot of things have been happening the last couple of days, and
Oh yeah.
specifically, a lot of people are talking about if Trump and Netanyahu or Trump and Israel are on good terms. Um, Recently, there was an Israeli hostage that was released. His name is Edan Alexander, and Trump uh, in the U.S. it seems did not brief Israel on their efforts to free Edan Alexander until after the deal was reached. Now, I am not a dramatic here. I think that it's normal. They're trying to get a deal done. Obviously, it's not going to be so easy to have the Israelis in the talks when they want to prioritize the U.S. But it is concerning to see this rift or supposed rift, and a lot of people in Israel are freaking out about it. Um, Trump and Netanyahu have denied any tensions. Times of Israel reports Witkoff denies tensions between Netanyahu and Trump, says media paints small disagreements as massive issues. So he is acknowledging that they have a small disagreement. U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, has added his voice to the growing chorus of officials denying the presence of any tensions between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Donald Trump. He commented on the matter in an interview with right-wing Breitbart news site conducted last week and published this evening. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli people are a staunch ally of the United States, and it goes back the other way around. They've been at multiple meetings with the president and the prime minister. They're friendly. They're good friends, in fact. He said that this does not mean they see eye to eye on absolutely everything, but that the media hears about a small disagreement, then conflates it into some large article about massive issues they have. Again,
Yes, the media
Netanyahu
is very good
also
at doing that.
posted and said on X that he and Trump have an excellent relationship. Again, this comes after a lot of people on Twitter and a lot of people in Israel are concerned about a lot of recent reports that the U.S. is leaving, different Israeli officials out of any talks that they're having, maybe directly with Hamas, directly with Iran. Again, Iran is trying to get a nuclear deal, so that is pretty terrifying as well. Furthermore, earlier today, Qatar gifted. I'm going to show you this tab. Qatar gifted a basically a plane to Trump.
Or of Air Force One, is that what it's going to be?
Qatar targeted 250 Trump influencers to change U.S. policy. So Qatar is angling to essentially get Trump on board. And again, I do believe, and Sneer, correct me if I'm wrong, Trump has changed his rhetoric when it comes to Qatar. It used to be, they were sponsors of terror. They're not that good, they're not good people. Recently, it's been, they're only trying to help. They're doing good things. Let me know what you think.
Right. I mean, there's definitely this dual aspect. Like he's trying to work the best he can
You're
with these
breaking up
players.
a little bit.
Sorry.
Snare, you're breaking up a little bit. Is there say again?
No, I was just saying that it could be that he's trying to play both sides of the fence, and deep down he knows that they're sponsoring terror and all that, but he's trying to make the best of the situation and work the cards in his favor.
It's still breaking up. Is there a maybe turn off the mic and just do it straight? Yeah. All right, talk. Snare, are you there?
1 second. Is that better?
All right. So Hillsfold is saying this is all very strange and worrisome. He is voicing concerns that Trump is too buddy-buddy with anti-Israel actors in the region. He says, what did Hamas demand in return for the release of Edan Alexander? He has a point. Why did Hamas release this coveted American hostage and decide to suddenly release him? No, it's obviously because Trump must have offered them something. So that's A. B. So what did Trump promise them? What does Qatar want in exchange for that $400 million plane that they gave to Air Force One? They gifted it to them, $400 million plane. And then, are we really okay with POTUS flying in a Qatar plane? what did Trump agree on with the Houthis, with the whole ceasefire over there? Why isn't Trump visiting Israel on this trip? In case you're not aware, Trump is going to the Middle East and basically is skipping over Israel. I don't like any of this. I hope I'm wrong, but it definitely seems like something is happening behind Israel's back. I pray I'm wrong. Now, Mike Huckabee has been speaking out on the matter, is trying to basically say that this is all hearsay and sources, and none of it is actually true. That a lot of it is just, people quoting one source and pretending like this is happening, and really they have a great relationship. It seems like he posts a lot on Twitter, but I believe he said recently, I think he responded to Hill's Fold and said, no, I can personally testify that, Trump and Netanyahu have a great relationship. And that all this talk is just, too much. It's a lot of hearsay. And he also spoke to reporters in a video I did earlier today, and basically said that, there's nothing to worry about. All these people saying that Israel and Trump are not on the same page. It's bullshit. Because I follow at Hill's Fold, I will jump in, ease some minds. All the nonsense about at POTUS and at Israeli PM, that's Trump and Netanyahu, is from sources who don't put their names on it. I will put mine. The partnership is strong. What's broken is credibility of fake news. Snare, are you back? Is your
Can you hear me a little bit better? Can you hear me a little bit better right now?
Yeah, no, I heard you just now, but it's very spotty.
Okay, sorry about that.
So continue to speak. Hold on.
I was just going to say that with a character like Trump, I think it's not surprising that it's not that
it's very spotty. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know what's going on with the sound.
Keep going.
If you want, you could try to fix it and then jump back in. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll try and do that.
All right, try to figure it out. Anyway, so moving on. So Trump is basically, he is drawing a lot of criticism from people on Israel's right specifically, but also on left. Although the left is pretty happy that Edon Alexander was released. Again, American hostage, the final American hostage, Edon Alexander, was released earlier today. Or not released, but was promised to be released, and that is a massive piece of news because again, that is one of the biggest ties, tying America to this war, having American hostages in captivity. So it could be Hamas was like, why do we want America involved here? Let me just release Edon Alexander, and now basically America has no excuse, no obvious excuse to be directly involved in this war. It also comes with aid that is being facilitated into Gaza from the United States of America. So that is a big news thing as well. So again, Trump is drawing a lot of rumors. He's taking a Qatar plane. He is going ahead and, dealing with getting out hostages. He said he is going to the Middle East, and he is not going to Israel. Again, going to the Middle East, but not going to Israel on this trip, and that is a little bit concerning, especially for people that are in Israel and following Trump for a long time and voted for him. So that's that. There is some other news with the Pope. He recently released a little bit of a statement on Israel and basically said he's calling for peace, and this drawed a lot of criticism. I mean, it's to be expected because, again, the Pope has never really been so friendly to Israel, at least recently. And he basically called for a ceasefire in Gaza, as well as, I think, Ukraine.
Suffering I carry in my heart the sufferings of the beloved Ukrainian people. May whatever is possible be done to reach an authentic, true and lasting peace as quickly as possible. May all the prisoners be freed. May children return to their families. I'm deeply hurt by what is happening in the Gaza Strip. May a ceasefire immediately come into effect. May humanitarian aid be allowed to the civilian population, and may all hostages be freed.
All right, so very towing the line there. What do you think, Snare?
I mean, he's obviously for first speech. I don't think he wants to rock any boats. Just by the way, if anyone can't hear the audio, just let me know. Let us know in the comments, and we'll fix it. But I think a few comments said the audio was coming through fine. But yeah, I think he's just trying to appease everyone right now. I don't think he wants to spin, rock any boats on his first day in office. So we'll see what happens. I think it's too early. Obviously, no one knows too much about him unless you research it very deeply. But I think time will tell as things go on with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just sort of regurgitating what Pope Francis was doing. I don't think maybe Pope Francis took it a little too far, but we'll see what he says going forward. This is an American Pope, so that's a little interesting. Lewis says, popes are nothing to me. My authority is the scriptures. So this is a Christian saying he is not interested in what the Pope has to say. And listen, I do think that the Pope has lost a lot of credibility with like that position in general, especially after you have, this LGBTQ and a lot of these anti-Christian groups basically taking root and the tolerance that they allowed. Now, I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the fact of the matter is a lot of religious Christians are looking into the Pope as sort of a joke at this point. So he doesn't carry the same weight as he used to. But it is definitely, I guess, good if Israel can, help the Pope understand that he should be supporting Israel.
Yeah.
All right.
I think
furthermore, yeah.
I think Christians in America have their own sort of movement and their own spin on how they view things, especially because they're in America with the whole woke thing going on their doorstep. So I think there's that disconnect between the Pope in Italy and what's going on in America. So I think they have a totally different attitude in America towards these things as opposed to the Pope, who may be looking at it from a distance and saying, oh, this is not so bad.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of Christians, I wanted to break down why Christians should support Israel. Now, I am not really of a proponent to make that argument, but a man who does make this argument, in a position, to make that argument, but a man who does make this argument is Charlie Kirk. And I wanted to show you two clips here where Charlie Kirk breaks down why Christians should support Israel. Check it out.
So important to America.
What evidence?
Hold on.
Why is Israel so important to America?
What evidence do you have that the Bible is true?
Well, we have archaeological.
Right. Where is that archaeological evidence found?
In Israel.
Right. Thank you. So in the places controlled by Muslims, are we able to access that archaeological evidence?
No.
No. So therefore, as it's controlled by Jews, we Christians have actually gotten the better end of the deal. So you're asking the question, why should we support Israel? We want the Bible to be proven true. The archaeological evidence is found in Israel. The places where the Muslims can control it completely, like Bethlehem, we are not able to visit those holy sites. I have a theological belief, but I also have a belief that protecting the historical integrity of the Bible is good for all of humanity. And under its current government, we're allowed to access those holy sites. I'm able to go to see where Jesus walked on the water. I'm able to go and see where Jesus rose from the dead. I'm able to see where Jesus was betrayed by Judas Iscariot. I'm able to see where Jesus preached the Mount of the Beatitudes. And I think that's worth defending. And I'm afraid that if it was under Muslim control, there is no such guarantees always that Western Christians are gained access to those holy sites.
So that's interesting. Basically saying under Jewish control, Christians are allowed a lot more freedom in the land as well as access to their holiest sites. And this happened again. He had another debate, which I do believe was another Christian talking about why Christians should support Israel. And I just wanted to bring that up as well. Hold on.
So I know, like, you...
Here we go.
With the events that have happened, so I know, like, you've vocally supported Israel a lot in the past.
Yep.
And I'd just like to ask, have your views changed at all since the October 7th events?
Yes and no. I mean, have they changed? I want to be very clear. What are my views? I've been to Israel twice. I love Israel. I love Israel, the place. I love Israel. I love Israel as it protects access to biblical archaeology. I'm not an unapologetic defender of the government of Israel, and I want to make sure that's clear. But I am a defender of the nation state of Israel to exist as a homeland for the Jewish people. But I anytime Israel does something I don't like, I say something about it, and I get attacked from every side. I get called a Jewish shill by some people, and then I get attacked as anti-Semitic. For example, I was one of the leading voices that said it was very suspicious, the intel failure that led to October 7th. I was one of the few people that was willing to say that, and I stand by that.
Oh yeah, that's great to hear.
But I am very pro-Israel as far as the promise of...
the guy says, that's great to hear. That's great to hear that you're anti-Israel, that you voice some concern over there.
The Jewish people, 7 million individuals out of 14, having a home. I believe is an idea that needs to be defended, a Jewish state in the Middle East. I do.
But why does it need to be defended by U.S. tax dollars?
No, that's a good question. So, to the amount, it's hard to justify the amount of money recently, the $26 billion.
Yeah.
But are you a Christian?
Yes, I am a Christian, but I do not believe in the Scofield Bible. Because
Okay.
I know the Scofield Bible is the Bible that a lot of Christian Zionists cite. So yes, I'm a Christian, but I am not a Zionist.
I'm not going to even win you over on Zionism. I do believe that Israel has a place in God's plan, but I'm not even going to win you over on that. But I think I can win you over that we should, as Christians, have access to Capernaum, Nazareth, the Mount of the Beatitudes. And what happens when we don't, for example, in Bethlehem, it is harder and harder for Christians to access those holy sites. So my main contention is that the veracity of the scriptures is proven true by our ability to navigate the Holy Land.
But is that harder based on the Palestinian government?
Yes.
Or the Israeli government having very tight controls on who visits the West Bank and the Gaza Strip?
This particular example in Bethlehem, the birthplace of our Lord and Savior, is controlled by the PA. And Muslims have largely taken over the Bethlehem, and it is very unsafe for Christians to visit Bethlehem.
But like Muslims regard Jesus a lot higher than
That's
Jews
right. He
do.
is the fourth. You're right. He is the fourth holiest figure in Islam.
Yeah.
And in traditional Talmudic Judaism, Jesus is not very.
Yeah, they say a lot of nasty things about him in the Talmud.
But however, I will say though that in Israel, under its current government.
Do you know a lot about that? I really don't know a lot about if it's an actual, like if he's an actual person in the Talmud. A lot of people debate whether that was an actually referring to, the figure, but it was really just a different person. It's a big debate, right?
So from what I understood, he was one of the students of the rabbis, and he sort of broke off from learning under the rabbis of that time, and he sort of started his own.
No, I understand that. I understand that. I'm not sure if even the person that's mentioned is the person they're referring to. Although I do know that it does say that he sort of differentiated himself from a lot of the rabbis of the time and sort of went off in a radical way.
Right.
So, but I'm not sure that all those like verses about like dying in holy excrement and all these other things, a lot of that, some people say it was him, some people say it was a different figure. I think it's a little bit, confusing.
I mean, according to our sources, the character that's described in the Talmud is approximately 100 years earlier than when they say
Jesus existed. So there are those discrepancies that could have happened over time. So again, it's hard to tell. But again, we don't believe that Jesus was a prophet of the Jewish people. Yeah, even though we do believe that Christianity has a role to play in the greater scheme of things, of bringing God back to the world. We definitely believe that. But we don't hold him as one of our prophets.
I was just wondering if that was especially if referring to him, but it's a little bit, it's a little bit, not exactly set in stone. But yeah, definitely in general, Orthodox Jews and Orthodox Judaism is not so geared towards that figure. Let's continue.
If you and I went right now, I could show you where Jesus rose from the dead. I can show you where Jesus walked on water. I can show you where Jesus preached the Mount of the Beatitudes. I cannot right now safely bring you to the Hall of the Patriarchs in Hebron, the Hall of Abraham, Isaac, and
this is a little bit dramatic because you can go to the Cave of the Patriarchs. You can totally go ahead and go to Hebron and hang out over there. There's no, you could, right? I mean, I've been there a month ago. It's not like,
you just need a lot of security.
It's not the most safest place in the world, but they have massive IDF presence there. It's not so hard to get in.
You'll probably have a few rocks thrown at your bus on the way.
A lot of times it's a little bit dramatic with this. Like he's like, oh, you go to Bethlehem, you're gonna die. Like, not necessarily. Like you could go to the West Bank and be fine. You could go to Judea and Samaria and be fine. But there is a level of hostility towards certain groups, and definitely if you are a Jewish person in different parts of Judea and Samaria, it can get really dangerous. But also there are a lot of armed Jews around. There's always going to be a lot of so-called settlers that are going to be there protecting you. Right. So I would say, don't go to dangerous neighborhoods. Don't go to very Arab or Muslim neighborhoods on purpose. But it's not like you go to Hebron and you're going to get killed, Yeah. So you can definitely manage to get to a lot of these places, especially with figuring out, different routes with different tour guides, etc.
Yeah, I mean, my way of
because that is largely under Palestinian control. There's one sliver controlled by the Israeli government. So there's two sides to this, and insofar that we are allowed as Christians access to the holy sites, and then I'm not going to win you on the other one, which is I do believe that Israel has a place in God's final plan, but I'm not going to win you over on that. So.
I mean, I just believe that, from reading the Bible, when Jesus is referring to Israel, he is referring to people that follow him.
This is a new idea that a lot of, I think Catholics believe that the Christians are Israel, and basically it's not referring to the actual state. Those who bless Israel will be blessed. Those who curse, I guess he did say the Jews, but they're saying that basically it refers to Christians now and not the actual land of Israel. So that's an interesting take. Right. I'm not really an expert in this.
But again, that's the same claim the Muslims make, that the Muslims are now the new Christians, and then you can go onward and say that there's the Baha'i are the new Muslims. So it's sort of a thing that has evolved over time, and it's called replacement theology. That the new group comes and supplants the previous group, right? So I think that's.
Yeah, I'm not even of the opinion that this is such a great argument to tell people because of your religion you should support Israel. I think people should make their own decisions. I don't think that Christians are obligated to support Israel. But Charlie Kirk, and I don't think I'm in that place to tell people, listen, because you're a Christian, you should support Israel. I think that is a very childish and authoritarian argument. Much better let people like Charlie Kirk make that argument, because again, he is a Christian, he is part of that community, and maybe he understands the different scriptures and different texts much better than I do. And so therefore he can say, listen, if you're this, you want Israel to be around. He's not even making the argument that Israel is good or anything. He's just simply saying Israel and the Jewish people holding those sites is better than Muslims holding it, because then we can't visit.
You told Paul and the other apostles, you said, go preach to the Gentiles, because anyone who accepts Christ has a place in God's kingdom.
No, you're totally right.
Because we have the old...
I'm a little bit uncomfortable showing all this
We had the old covenant where, I mean, of course foreigners could join, but they did make it very hard, where God said to Abraham that his descendants would bless mankind, and that blessing
Genesis
was
12:3.
Yes, and that blessing was the savior of mankind. Then the savior of mankind said, "The old laws have been fulfilled. Now there's a new law where follow me and you are saved."
So we're not going to agree on this. There's a biblical prophecy about Israel being spread across all the nations and being bound up in normative evangelical theology, which I believe in. We believe that the creation of the state of Israel in the 1940s was a fulfillment of that prophecy. We're not going to agree on that, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm a Latter-day Saint.
No, that's fine. I know we're not going to agree on it. But hey, I will say though, the LDS, they have an amazing church in Jerusalem. You should visit it sometime.
Yeah, the Jerusalem Center.
I know you should check it out. God bless, man. Thanks for your support. Appreciate
All right,
it.
Christ is King.
I agree. Christ is King. Thank you.
All right, so that's a new term that a lot of people are saying with regard to. I think Candace Owens started it, so I'm not sure that that's a good thing to endorse. All right, so here's
just
another
one last point on this. Actually, after the founding of the State of Israel, the Catholic Church official position was to deny the existence of the states because it went against a lot of their teachings. But after a lot of a few decades, the church actually changed its official position on the State of Israel and said that this aligns with church teachings and this is okay that this exists, and it didn't go against what their philosophy held. So they did have that sort of turnaround in the Vatican itself.
Interesting. All right, so I'm sure you're aware, if you're at all paying attention to the Jewish world, that there was a big F the Jew sign, at a Barstool location, and this isn't connected. I wouldn't say it's connected to Dave Portnoy. I mean, it's not his fault, but basically, it's sort of, he had to deal with the fallout and dealing with firing a lot of different people. And he had a whole fight with this anti-Semitic dude named Mo Khan. And he seems to not only be anti-Semitic, but also to be an asshole. And he not only, did this F the Jew sign, he does a lot of pranks. And I wanted to show you some of the things that this schmuck did and does on a routine basis. So this is, some of these are pretty messed up.
Not familiar with this guy, so that's new to me.
He taunts homeless people. Dave Portnoy writes, Mo Khan may be the greatest thing that's ever happened for Jews to fight anti-Semitism in America. Like, imagine trying to defend this guy, whether he's spitting on people, throwing buckets of water on homeless people, dealing drugs, running a sex cam ring, or going on Nazi podcasts. He's undeniably a piece of shit. Here's another clip of him. This is him throwing water on a homeless dude. Wow. Just unabashedly. And he's laughing the whole time.
Different streaming, but what's different?
Oh, this is, I'm not going to show that.
Some homeless dudes can be quite crazy. They might stab him one day if he does it. If he runs into the wrong one.
That's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. And then so he had a whole thing. He gave a 6-minute clip here, basically talking about it.
All right, so I just dragged my ass out of bed because I gotta show you this guy. Mo Khan just made this video. Mo Khan is the guy who went to the Barstool bar in Philly and uploaded the "Fuck the Jews" sign to Instagram. All hell broke loose, went super viral. Everyone's sending it to me. Temple fucking suspended his ass basically before I was even involved because, hey, asshole, you fucking uploaded it to your personal Instagram. What do you think was going to happen, you brain dead moron? Well, anyways, I was so mad. Everyone saw that. I calmed down. I'm like, I'm going to try to make this teachable moment. This kid's crying. He's like, I'm not anti-Semitic, blah, 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 all this shit, even though there's past incidents that came to light. And then he does a 180, and he's like, oh, I was a citizen journalist. I don't know who did it. I have nothing to do with it. He's just a flat liar, coward with no responsibility. I should have seen this next move coming. He is now actually trying to profit from this, and he's playing the role of the victim. Like Dave Portnoy sensationalized this. How dare he talk about a "fuck the Jews" sign at the Barstool bar that he fucking uploaded, you moron. And maybe everyone's right. Well, like, you can't talk to these kids, and he's just so stupid. Like, zero accountability. Blaming it all on me. He's like, I've lost an internship that I work hard for, and I'm suspended from school. Buddy, you upload a "fuck the Jews" sign to your personal Instagram from my fucking bar. And you're blaming that now on me? And by the way, spare me. This is so obvious playbook. Spare me what's going on in the Middle East. Palestine, Israel, because I admit that's a fucking horrible situation, and I certainly get both sides in that. I do. I don't have answers on how to fucking make everybody happy out there. But this was about being a Jew in America. Other Jews in the bar. I'm a Jew. My parents are a Jew. American Jews. Fuck Jews. That's what you said. You fucking anti-Semitic piece of shit. And I tried to show grace. I tried to. You put your name out there. I tried to actually, now I feel dumb to make it right. And now he does this video blaming it on me. Watch this video. If you have...
Hold on. Anyone in the chat, let me know if you can't hear anything, because some people are saying they can't hear the video.
An ounce of morality, and you don't just hate for the sake of hate. You're just not a troll out there hating, which I'm sure will get money because it's out there. But like, you have to... This has to disgust you, and this kid's face rained in you. Be like, this is what the face of hatred is. This is what the face of being a coward is. This is the face of zero accountability. Everything that's wrong with his generation. And this kid, now, officially, it should stick with him forever. And by the way, his parents, who I know are giving the advice, nice kid you raised.
Over this past weekend, I was in an establishment in Philadelphia where an incident occurred, and Dave Portnoy sensationalized it to his 9.2 million followers on Instagram and X, essentially turning it into a global news story.
This is like the perfect analogy for Israelis and Palestinians. Like, he's like, F the Jews, and then Portnoy responds, and he's like, oh, how could he do this to me? This is terrible. You know, look what he did to me. I mean, I was trying to get sympathy and aid from the rest of the world.
He's going to be America's FAFO kid. FAFO kid.
FAFO, yeah. If you're not aware, FAFO is a meme after October 7th where this guy was celebrating while the rockets were flying on Israel. And then about a day later, while the rockets were falling on Gaza, he was crying. And so F around and find out. All right, so he has a whole story here about his side of the story. How it's very, pathetic the way he does this. It sounds like ChatGPT. I'm just going to play a little bit of it.
Of random kids dying, being left to die. My roommates had to evacuate our house. They weren't even involved, and they had to evacuate our premises due to someone leaking our address on the internet. Everyone has to remember, I'm just a 21-year-old college student.
I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid. All right. It gets worse, though. He doesn't even feel bad for throwing water on a homeless dude. Check it out.
Poured water.
Hold on.
In a similar manner, when I went and poured water on a homeless guy, who cares? I pay my own rent. I want my block to be clean.
What? He pays his own rent so he can throw water on a homeless guy on his block. That is his idea of him being, just so that was that. Here's another. I think he broke it down a little bit more. Trying to find.
That sounds very un-Islamic with his name, because he's Muslim apparently, and he's at a bar drinking. That sounds very haram. And mistreating.
I mean, is he Muslim?
Mo Khan. Probably Muhammad, right?
Yeah, he's probably Muslim, but probably not, not so practicing.
No.
Hold on. Trying to find, there was a clip where he basically forgot. Hold on. Stu Peters. There was a really funny clip that he uploaded. What is this? From a long time ago. Hold on. I think Mo Khan and Stu Peters, there was a clip I wanted to show you. It was really funny. He's like talking about how bad the Jews are, and then somebody in the comments asks,
has he ever met one? That's my question.
and then he's like, well, Dave Rubin, not Dave Rubin, Dave. Hold on, I'm blanking out here. Dave Ramsey? No, Dave Portnoy. I'm broken. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Here we go.
I mean, I feel like most of the people on X who post anti-Jewish things, they've never met a Jew in their life in the first place. So they have an echo chamber of just like very negative things being shot around in their head, and they have nothing to substantiate those claims. They've never met anyone. They haven't never interacted with a Jew in the first place. So I think that just, a recipe for disaster. And ends up with like, this Mo Khan guy who has a very negative view.
All right, here's the clip. Let me know if you guys see this. Hold on. Yeah, this is. Sorry. What's going on? Oh, it's not showing it.
No, I don't see anything.
You could have given that to a white community in some way. Pathetic. All right. I mean, it's fair. I understand what you're saying.
And they realize that he's a Muslim. Check it out.
So do you think that now is the time for humanity to join forces and become tribal against Jewish supremacy?
Absolutely.
A few moments later.
Super chat real quick. Stu, I hope you see this. I can't believe you're giving $100,000 to a brown Muslim. Shame on you. You could have given that to a white community in some way. Pathetic. All right. I mean, it's fair. I understand what you're saying.
So he has this guy on, and he's like, he gives him money supposedly, and is raising money for this guy, Mo Khan, against his defense, against Dave Portnoy. And then he goes ahead and says, oh yeah, actually, I don't know why I'm giving money to this brown Muslim. And this is a total white supremacist. This is like not a guy that was painted by the media. No, this is actually a guy that believes that Hitler was right and all those other terrible things. I hope I don't get banned from YouTube for saying that.
It's funny, the guys who claim Hitler was right will also at the same breath say that the Holocaust never really happened, but deep down they wish it'll happen again. So they have all these like very conflicting claims in their mind.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're out of their minds. All right, so that was that, and here's another final clip.
He's an idiot.
Of Dave Portnoy debating this with somebody. The guy's like, "Why don't you just take it easy on him? He's a 21-year-old, not a big deal. Let him do his thing," and he just loses it.
How old is this kid?
21.
All right, so he's an idiot. He's a scumbag. But I guess when I think about it, like, why are you even like asking him, like showing him this stuff? Like, why not just say he's a prick, he's an asshole, fuck him, and just like he didn't do anything to you.
Who didn't?
This kid. This is not like Business Insider. Like, he's not affecting your career. You know what I'm saying?
It's not even Jewish. I totally disagree. I think that's an idiotic thing to say.
I understand that part of it. Well, I got.
He's in a bar that is my bar, saying "fuck the Jews."
Right, and you kicked him out.
Let it go.
And you kicked him out. And you kicked him out. And he's never allowed back. I got you.
Well, we didn't kick him out. We actually didn't kick him out.
That was okay. That was a mistake. So I guess now my point is like now you're like platforming like videos he did saying pick up a quarter because he's a Jew.
Yes.
Like, he's a 21. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I don't.
You don't
You're
get my point?
21-year-old. What does that mean?
Well, he's a kid. He's a dummy.
He's not. No.
He's a moron.
You're not a young kid, Kirk. There's so much fucking anti-Semitism, and people just let it slide to the point where you think you can go into a bar, and he did get away with it and be fuck the Jews, and you just want to be like, see ya, not make a big stink about it.
To me, he's a piece of shit.
The world has to see that. The world has to see what. And it's easy maybe to somebody to say who's not in those shoes, who doesn't get fucking 500 fuck the Jews. I hope you die. I hope you die. So you just want me to let this slide and go, and people think they can go in public and put fuck the Jews on signs?
I'm saying that this is a spectacularly dumb human being.
But I now want to show, hey,
I
for
get that.
all you people who are like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, this is who you're supporting. This is how stupid these people are. I actually, in the end, think this kid will be the best representation, or maybe he can end anti-Semitic because look at this is the type of kid. people are like supporting this kid. This kid throws buckets of water on homeless people sleeping.
Oh, he's a scumbag for sure.
That is who these people are. So
Well,
I want you to say that loudly and clearly.
That's fair.
And this kid had the chance to handle this with grace. He didn't. And now 21, you're acting like 21's like 14.
Yeah, 21 is you're already very responsible for anything you do. I'm not sure I agree. A lot of like Jewish people are conflicted on this, whether or not to punish anti-Semites and how to go about that. What's your take on that?
Well, I definitely think we have to build if we build a tolerance of non-reaction to these things, we'll get complacent to the point where bigger things happen to us, and we won't be able to exercise those muscles of like, no, this is wrong, and being able to stand up to what's wrong. So I think we should take these small incidents and voice our opinions and say what we need to say and be strong about it. We don't have to back down into a corner and just say it's nothing. Over time, these events get more serious. We won't have the muscles to fight them, right? So I think it's just a progression. We have to be able to stand up to the small incidents so that we can stand up to the bigger ones when they come.
Yeah, I think I agree in some sense. Another part of me likes to say like, okay, there's something to be said about just ignoring it. And I know a lot of people feel like that's taboo, especially since like, everything with what happened in Nazi Germany. But I guess we'll see. We're going to be dealing with a lot of this anti-Semitism. I think this is just the beginning. And so we'll see which approach is better and more effective. I don't think freaking out or panicking or, like over every little incident is the way to go. I'll give you an example. There are organizations like End Anti-Semitism or Stop Anti-Semitism or, Fight Back Against Anti-Semitism. I don't think that that's really the way to go or is going to, you're never going to end anti-Semitism simply because you can't tell people how to think, just like you can't, other types of hatred. You're just not going to end it. Now you can minimize it and maybe you can, create awareness and etc. But this idea that you're going to tell people that they can't be hateful of another group is crazy because that's how people are going to be. And I think that that's so much, a problem. The problem is when it turns to action. Like I have no problem with people hating me as long as they're, keeping it inside. Yal Jacobi says, breaking details of the Edon Alexander deal and the act. So in case you just joined the live stream, Donald Trump and the United States just secured the release of American hostage Edon Alexander. He was the final American hostage in Hamas captivity, and he is scheduled to be released for today between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.
That's fast.
So I'm assuming that that's not today, meaning tomorrow, 8 a.m., 8 p.m. Exact timing is still being coordinated with the Red Cross and mediators to ensure a safe corridor for the transfer. Hamas backed down at the last minute. In an attempt to halt Operation Gideon Chariots, it dropped its demand to end the world It dropped its demand to end the war entirely. A narrow window remains for limited negotiations under fire before Israel launches a full-scale maneuver. So it seems like they told him basically the only way we're giving back Edon Alexander is if we get the war to be over. Obviously, that didn't happen. Israel has agreed to negotiate under the terms of the Witkoff outline and will send a delegation if Hamas shows genuine intent. The talks will focus on a ceasefire, the release of terrorists, and limited humanitarian aid. The Witkoff outline begins with a 45-day ceasefire in exchange for 10 to 11 live hostages and additional bodies. During this period, Phase B negotiations would begin, focused on ending the war and releasing all hostages. Israel demands Hamas' disarmament and the exile of its leadership from Gaza. Hamas will not receive aid. Any humanitarian aid will go directly to the civilian population, with third-party intermediaries involved. Israel will also demand proof of the medical condition and well-being of the remaining hostages after Phase 1. Israel had always planned for Idan Alexander's release to mark the start of any Witkoff framework. There has been no direct contact between Witkoff and Hamas, and only through an intermediary. So again, it's very fast. Idan Alexander is going to be released very soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So I guess the main thing right here to talk about, this is a tweet that he said that Trump sent out earlier today. I am happy to announce that Idan Alexander, an American citizen who has been held hostage since October 2023, is coming home to his family. I am grateful to all those involved in making this monumental news happen. This was a step taken in good faith towards the United States and the efforts of the mediators, Qatar and Egypt. That's again praising Qatar, which is a little bit scary for Israel and the Jewish people. And to put an end to this very brutal war and return all living hostages and remains to their loved ones. Hopefully, this is the first of those final steps necessary to end this brutal conflict. I look very much forward to that day of celebration. Okay, so again, he was elected to be the president of peace. I think that he's trying to uphold that mandate. And I think that people that voted for him and thought he would just back Israel at every turn with no, with no
saying it,
no caveats, nothing to say, I think that they're wishful thinkers. I think that they're ignorant. On top of that, I think that much bigger than this war are the permanent things. So what do I mean by that? If Trump goes ahead and tells Israel to stop this war, or doesn't, end up allowing us to finish Hamas, etc., because at this point we basically are a U.S. Proxy state.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's the main thing. The main thing is, we'll see, but I think that Trump is going to allow us to take Judea and Samaria, annex Judea and Samaria, which is going to be massive. I think that he's going to help us take more land, and that is a permanent thing. So I'm always much more of the opinion that you want permanent things. You don't want, small things. And I think that we accomplished a lot with this war. Again, people that say we accomplished nothing are insane. Look at what happened to Hezbollah. Look at what happened to Syria, Bashar al-Assad. Basically the Houthis are in a lot of ways destroyed. Not that they were so powerful to begin with, but we've realigned the region in a way where we are much, much more powerful and less dangerous, less in danger than before, less surrounded by Iran's proxies. And I think that that is a great thing. Yes, I think we should destroy Hamas, but the only reason why I think it's necessary to destroy Hamas is less so for the sake of destroying Hamas, but more so to gain control of Gaza and take it over. If you're not going to take it over, I don't see a point in really going there and taking them out other than serving justice, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, I personally don't see why we haven't used the tactic of deceit. You're dealing with people who it's in their charter to destroy you. So if it was me, I would just say we'll agree to everything, give us all the hostages back, and the moment we get them back, start the war after that. I know for me that's what I would have done.
Yeah, you're saying just basically say, we'll end the war, give me back the hostages, and then say, okay, we're going against
Go back
you.
On our word. These people are
you guys are
Hamas. You, whether you
not a terrible idea. All right, so that's all we have for today. Again, a lot of developments happening right now. We'll keep you updated with daily videos as well as a live stream. We're going to try to go live almost every Sunday. I can't promise that, but we'll try to do that. Maybe once or twice again during the week. We're not sure. I think I went live when the whole Kanye thing happened with Piers Morgan, but that was sort of random. So if anything really big comes up, we'll probably go live as well. Thank you for watching Jewish Uncensored. If you want to support the channel, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Jewish Uncensored. You can also go to our channel memberships page and get some access Sorry, I have a little bit of a problem speaking. Get access to exclusive content. We release a little bit of exclusive videos every other day. And that's going to be either, we release it early for you guys, or it's just completely a video that we release to only the members on this channel. Again, thank you for watching and have a good one.
Have a good day, everyone.